Hello there, Rangers faithful. Welcome back to another Rangers update where passion meets pride and every heartbeat echoes the spirit of Ibrox. It's great to have you here again, standing shoulder to shoulder with the most loyal fan base in football. Before we get started, let's take a moment to appreciate what it means to be part of this incredible club. Through highs and lows, triumphs and challenges, there's one thing that never changes, the dedication of Rangers fans. Whether you're tuning in from Glasgow or from across the world, your support fuels everything this team stands for. Now, let's get right into the latest updates because there's plenty to discuss from Ibrox, and the storylines just keep getting more fascinating by the day. One of the biggest talking points right now surrounds Mikey Moore, the young winger on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. His time at Rangers looked uncertain not too long ago. Many thought his spell in Scotland would be short-lived, that maybe he wasn't quite ready for the demands of life at one of Britain's most historic clubs. But football has a funny way of turning things around, and for Mikey Moore, that turnaround is unfolding right before our eyes. After a rocky beginning, he started to show why he was so highly rated down south. His recent performances have sparked genuine optimism among supporters who had begun to lose faith in the teenager's potential to make an impact at Ibrox. When Moore arrived in Glasgow during the summer, expectations were sky high. Rangers fans always demand excellence, and any young player stepping into this environment quickly learns what it means to represent that badge. The intensity, the atmosphere, the pressure, it's unlike anything else. Moore, still only 18, found the adaptation tougher than expected. Under the previous manager, Russell Martin, his role in the team was uncertain. He struggled to make his mark in a side that itself was struggling for consistency. The team's early season form dipped, and as results faltered, frustration in the stands began to rise. Unfortunately, as often happens, young players become easy targets in those situations. The criticism reached its peak after the disappointing draw against Falkirk last month. Moore's subdued display that night became the center of debate across fan forums and post-match discussions. Questions were raised about whether his loan was a mistake, and there were even whispers that Tottenham might consider recalling him early. For a young man far from home, it must have been a testing time, but football seasons are long and fortunes can shift in an instant, and that's exactly what happened at Ibrox following a crucial managerial change. On the 20th of October, Danny Röhl took charge, and since then, there's been a noticeable change in both the team's spirit and Mikey Moore's confidence. The German boss brought with him an energetic, front-foot approach, the kind of football that excites supporters and gives flair players the freedom to express themselves. For Moore, that style has been a blessing. You can see it in the way he plays now. Sharper touches, quicker decisions, more confidence on the ball. He's no longer hiding on the pitch. He's demanding the ball, taking defenders on, and showing glimpses of the creativity that made him stand out at Tottenham's academy. Under Röhl's guidance, Moore has featured regularly and started to make an impression that feels much more lasting. His performances over the past few weeks have been filled with intent and energy, the sort of contribution that changes games and gets fans back on their feet. The supporters who were once doubtful are beginning to change their tune. The frustration that once surrounded his name has been replaced with excitement, as many now believe the young winger can play a real role in Rangers' rejuvenation this season. Even those in England who have followed his career are starting to take notice again. Reports suggest that Tottenham's staff are pleased with his progress, recognizing that staying in Glasgow might be exactly what he needs at this stage of his development. After all, there's no better place to toughen up and learn what real pressure feels like than playing for Rangers. It's a club where every match is a test of character, and Moore seems to be passing those tests with growing maturity. Former scouts and analysts have commented on his improvement, noting that consistency will now be the key. It's not enough to show flashes of brilliance. What Rangers need is sustained impact. But if Moore can continue building momentum under Röhl, there's every reason to believe his time in Scotland could become a defining chapter in his career. At 18, he's got plenty to learn, but what's becoming clear is that he's got the drive to make it happen. Beyond Moore's personal story, his resurgence feels symbolic of something larger happening at Rangers. The arrival of Danny Röhl has injected belief back into the squad. Players look more focused, the tempo has improved, and the football feels more aggressive, more purposeful. The Ibrox crowd can sense it too, that familiar energy returning, that roar when the team goes forward with intent. The early signs of Röhl's philosophy are there for everyone to see, and it's beginning to pay off. For Moore, this managerial change might have saved his loan spell from fading into obscurity. Where once there was talk of a premature return to London, there's now excitement about how far he can go before the season ends. You can almost feel the shift in the stadium when he gets on the ball now, that little buzz of anticipation, that belief that something might happen. And that's exactly what Rangers need right now, players who can create moments, who can lift the team when things get tight. It's also worth mentioning how the dynamic between manager and player has evolved. Röhl's man management seems to have made a big difference. He's known for his ability to communicate clearly with younger players, helping them understand their role and what's expected of them. That clarity can do wonders for a player's confidence. For Moore, it's evident that he feels trusted now, that he has a role to play rather than being on the fringes. There's a long season ahead, and while one or two strong performances don't make a career, they can certainly change its direction. Moore still has plenty to prove, but the signs of progress are real. He's beginning to look like a player capable of thriving in Scotland and, more importantly, of contributing to Rangers' push for success across all fronts. For Rangers as a whole, these developments couldn't have come at a better time. The domestic form is picking up again, with the squad showing signs of cohesion and belief. European nights remain unpredictable, but at home, the team is rediscovering its rhythm. Fans can see that something is building, that there's a foundation forming under Röhl's leadership, and when you combine a renewed tactical structure with young players stepping up, it creates the kind of momentum that can carry a club through the crucial winter months. Mikey Moore's revival, then, is more than just an individual success story. It's a reflection of Rangers' broader resurgence. It shows what can happen when talent meets opportunity and the right guidance. For a club that thrives on resilience and passion, it's exactly the kind of narrative supporters love to see unfold, and that's just the beginning of what's shaping up to be a fascinating second half of the season at Ibrox. There are more stories developing behind the scenes, more players ready to step up and prove themselves under this new regime, and a fan base that's starting to believe again. The pieces are beginning to fit together, and with momentum building, it feels like Rangers are once again on the rise. Now, while Mikey Moore's resurgence has grabbed plenty of headlines, he's not the only one at Ibrox fighting to turn things around. Another story that's been gaining attention in recent weeks is that of Yousef Cheriti, The young striker, whose time at Rangers has been anything but straightforward, signed from Everton during the summer. Cheriti arrived in Glasgow with big expectations on his shoulders. He was seen as one for the future, a player with the physical attributes and potential to lead the line for years to come. But as we've seen many times before, adapting to the Scottish Premiership is no easy task, and the reality of playing for Rangers can hit even the most talented youngsters like a storm. Cheriti's early months were a struggle. Under the previous management, he looked short of confidence, often isolated up front, and struggling to impose himself in matches. The pressure of playing in front of 50,000 demanding fans at Ibrox can weigh heavily on any player, but for a young forward still finding his rhythm, it can be overwhelming. Goals were hard to come by, and the frustration in the stands grew louder with every missed chance. Fans wanted instant results, but Cheriti looked like a player still learning what it truly means to wear the famous blue shirt. The criticism reached its peak after that tough League Cup semi-final defeat to Celtic. The missed opportunities in that match drew a lot of heat his way, with many supporters questioning whether he had the mentality to handle the pressure of being one of Rangers' more expensive young signings. For a player still adapting to a new country, a new system, and a new level of expectation, it was a harsh test. But here's where things started to shift. Just as with Mikey Moore, Danny Röhl's arrival has opened the door for a second chance. The new boss seems to see something in Cheriti that others might have overlooked, a raw talent that just needs belief, patience, and the right kind of coaching to flourish. Röhl's approach to management is all about giving players clarity and purpose. He understands that confidence doesn't just appear overnight. It's built through trust, repetition, and a sense of belonging within the team. Since Röhl took over, Cheriti has been given more opportunities to find his feet, to stay in the side for longer stretches, and to build the chemistry that every striker needs with his teammates. It's not been perfect, of course, but there are signs of life, signs that the Portuguese forward is starting to believe again. His goal against Kilmarnock at the end of October was a small but significant step in the right direction, not just because it helped the team, but because you could see what it meant to him. You could see the relief on his face, the roar of emotion that came with finally getting back on the score sheet. That's what football is about, those moments where hard work meets reward. And make no mistake, Cheriti's been working hard behind the scenes. Reports from training suggest that Röhl has been pushing him to improve his movement, his positioning, and his understanding of when to press and when to hold. These are small details, but in the world of elite football, they make all the difference. Still, no one at Rangers is pretending that the job is done. One goal doesn't erase months of inconsistency. What matters now is whether Cheriti can take that small spark and turn it into something more sustained. That's exactly what the coaching staff are trying to help him achieve, to get into a rhythm where he plays with freedom, without fear, and starts converting chances with confidence. It's a mental game as much as a physical one, especially for strikers. When the goals dry up, doubts creep in, and that can snowball quickly. But with the support of a manager who believes in him, Cheriti has the platform to turn his Rangers story into one of redemption rather than regret. Insiders close to the squad have mentioned that Röhl is determined to help Cheriti reach his full potential. The German coach sees him as a long-term project, someone who could become a real asset to the club if given time to grow. That's a refreshing attitude, especially in a football world where patience is often in short supply. For a player like Cheriti, That patience could make all the difference. The next few months will be crucial, not just for him, but for several players across the squad. The second half of the season always separates those who rise to the occasion from those who fade away. With Rangers now regaining some of their domestic form, every player will be needed, and competition for places will be fierce. The upcoming fixtures will test the team's depth and resilience, and it's in these stretches that careers are often defined. For Cheriti, this is his moment to prove that he belongs here, that he can handle the pressure and become a player fans can rely on. And make no mistake, the Rangers' support, while demanding, will always back players who show fight, determination, and commitment to the badge. They've seen countless players come through those Ibrox gates over the years, some thriving under the weight of expectation, others wilting. The difference has always been attitude. If Cheriti keeps showing the hunger he's displayed in training and starts producing on the pitch, the fans will respond in kind. That's the beauty of this club. It's a place where redemption is always possible, where effort and passion are valued just as much as goals and assists. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are turning into roars in the Scottish football scene as the Rangers reportedly pull off what many are calling the biggest signing in the club's illustrious history. The buzz. Ross Barkley, the English midfielder once hailed as a prodigy at Everton and Chelsea, could be donning the iconic blue of Ibrox sooner rather than later. Fans are barely containing their excitement, and rival camps across Europe are looking over their shoulders nervously. Sources close to the club hint that negotiations have reached an advanced stage, with Rangers pushing the boat out to lure Barkley north of the border. If true, it wouldn't just be a signing, it'd be a statement, a declaration that Rangers are ready to flex on the continental stage, challenging giants in the Champions League and beyond. The potential transfer fee and wages remain hush-hush, but insiders suggest the club is prepared to break its own records. The speculation has sent social media into a frenzy, with hashtags like Barkley to Rangers and Ibrox takeover trending across platforms. Fans recall Barkley's flashes of brilliance in the Premier League and even in international colours for England, seeing him as the missing spark that could turn Rangers from domestic dominators into true European contenders. Critics, however, urge caution, reminding that the midfielder's career has been peppered with injuries and inconsistent form. Still, the allure of a big-name acquisition at Ibrox is irresistible. Rangers board have remained tight-lipped, refusing to confirm or deny the rumours, but insiders suggest the club is pulling out all stops to secure the deal. Talks are reportedly intense, with Barkley's representatives weighing the sporting project against lucrative offers elsewhere. Should the deal materialise, it would mark a seismic shift not only for the club but for Scottish football as a whole, putting Rangers firmly in the European spotlight and sending shockwaves through old firm rivals and beyond. For now, fans and pundits alike are left to speculate, dream, and debate the potential of Ross Barkley lighting up Ibrox. One thing's for certain: if the rumours hold true, history could be written this summer at the heart of Glasgow. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned